The plastic currently inside your body is something you've never eaten, bought, or even touched. Yet, it's there, in your blood, in your lungs, even in the placenta of a mother whose child hasn't yet seen the light of day. In this video, we're going to tell you a story that began with the dream of saving mankind. And today, that very same invention has infiltrated the very cells of our bodies. By the end of this video, you will know exactly why plastic was created, how it took over the entire planet, and the most important question of all, is there actually a way out of this? Welcome to You Know That.
The year is 1869. Billiards is wildly popular in America, but there was a problem. Billiard balls were made from ivory, and each elephant tusk could only produce a few balls. Elephants were being slaughtered rapidly, and the African elephant population was dropping at a terrifying rate. An American company made an announcement. Anyone who could create an alternative to ivory would be awarded a $10,000 prize. A young printer named John Wesley Hyatt took on that challenge. He invented a material called celluloid, the very first artificial plastic made from plant cellulose. This was human civilization's first plastic revolution. But the real explosion happened much later, in 1907. A Belgian-American scientist named Leo Bakelite created Bakelite, the world's first fully synthetic plastic, made entirely from chemicals rather than natural raw materials. Bakelite was dubbed the material of 1,000 uses. Radios, telephones, jewelry, even gun handles. It was used in absolutely everything. But nobody knew back then that this invention would one day alter the ecosystem of the entire planet.
World War II. This war didn't just change human history, it changed the history of plastic too. During the war, there was a severe shortage of rubber and metal. For parachutes, helmet liners, and aircraft cockpit covers, they needed a lightweight, cheap, and durable alternative for everything. In just 4 years of war, plastic production in America surged by nearly 300%. Nylon, which was previously only used for women's stockings, now became the fabric for parachutes. The war ended, but the factories didn't shut down. The question now was, what should be done with this massive production capacity? The answer came through a brand new philosophy, the disposable lifestyle, or throwaway culture. In 1955, Life magazine published a famous article titled Throwaway Living. The photograph featured a family with hundreds of plastic plates, cups, and spoons flying through the air around them. And the caption boasted that these items didn't need to be washed after use. You just throw them away. This was the turning point. Plastic was no longer just a solution to a problem, it became a symbol of convenience. Companies realized that single-use plastic was far more profitable because the consumer had to keep buying it over and over again.
Here's a truth that many people don't know. When the environmental movement kicked off in the 1970s, the plastic industry panicked. People started asking questions. Where is all this plastic waste actually going? The industry's answer was a single word: recycling. In 1988, the plastic industry introduced a symbol, a triangle made of 3 chasing arrows with a number from 1 to 7 inside it. People assumed this meant the plastic would be recycled. But the reality was completely different. Later published documents revealed that the industry's own engineers knew that recycling most plastics wasn't economically viable. Yet the symbol was still used because it created a belief in people's minds. If I throw this in the recycling bin, the problem is solved. Even today, less than 9% of all plastic ever made globally has actually been recycled. The rest goes into landfills, is incinerated, or ends up directly in nature, in our rivers and oceans. From 1950 to the present day, humanity has produced a total of over 9 billion tons of plastic.
This number is so massive that if you weighed all that plastic together, it would be more than 35 times the combined body weight of every single human being on Earth.
In 1997, a sailor named Charles Moore was crossing the Pacific Ocean when he sailed into an area that left him completely stunned. Day after day, all he saw around him were floating pieces of plastic, bottle caps, toys, fishing nets, bags. Today, this area is known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Its size is estimated to be around 1.6 million square kilometers. That's roughly 3 times the size of France. But it isn't a floating island like many people imagine. It's essentially a thick soup filled with millions of tiny plastic particles that are constantly being broken down into even smaller pieces by sunlight and ocean waves. Marine animals mistake this plastic for food and swallow it. Studies show that nearly 1 million seabirds and over 100,000 marine mammals die every year because of plastic. Sea turtles eat plastic bags, mistaking them for jellyfish. More than 40 kilograms of plastic waste has been recovered from the stomach of a single whale.
But the most terrifying part hasn't been mentioned yet. Plastic never fully decomposes. It just breaks down into smaller and smaller fragments, known as microplastics, and when they get even smaller, nanoplastics. In 2022, scientists detected microplastics in the blood of living humans for the very first time. Later, they were found deep inside human lungs, in breast milk, and even in human brain tissue. A 2024 study showed that the amount of microplastics found in human brains has increased significantly over the past 8 years. It's estimated that the average person ingests about a credit card's worth of microplastics every single week through food, water, and even the air we breathe. Researchers warn that these microplastics carry chemical substances that can disrupt our hormonal systems. It's important to note here, science is still actively researching this, and we haven't reached a point where we can definitively confirm the long-term effects on the human body. But one thing is crystal clear. A substance that barely existed on Earth 70 years ago has now become a part of our own bodies.
Efforts for change are now beginning worldwide. In 2022, 175 UN member nations agreed on a historic resolution to start negotiations for a legally binding global plastic pollution treaty. Scientists are working with bacteria and enzymes that can break down plastic in a matter of days, something that takes nature hundreds of years to do. Some countries and cities have already banned single-use plastic bags and straws. On a personal level, small decisions are incredibly meaningful. Using cloth bags, carrying reusable bottles, not heating food in plastic containers. But the real change will only come when industries and policymakers realize that convenience and safety cannot coexist unless we fundamentally change our methods of production.
150 years ago, a man wanted to save elephants, and in doing so, created a material that today threatens the entire global ecosystem and our very own bodies. The next time you grab a plastic bottle, stop for a moment. Think about it. This item might be in your hands for 10 minutes, but it will remain on this earth for perhaps 400 years. If you found this video helpful, drop a like and let us know in the comments, what is one plastic item you're going to try giving up starting today? Make sure to subscribe to You Know That, because more stories are coming your way that will completely change how you view the world. See you in the next video.